Hey, so if I go to bjjfanatics.com, what do I need to search for in order to find 3 awesome instructionals?
All you really need to do is put in ROZ, and Gravity is your friend, escapes for guys over 40, and Be a Hammer, Smash the Knees pop up, and those are the 3 that you've done so far.
Yes, and in January, I'll be going back to Boston to recruit a handful more, so stay tuned. More awesomeness on BJJ Fanatics coming your way.
We have all had that situation where after class is when we want to ask a question. And Thomas, a lot of those questions you've already answered, right, at Ask a Black Belt.
Yeah, it's another podcast that I'm running. It's on podcast, all podcast platforms, plus on YouTube. You can find it anywhere. Just search for my name. Search for Ask a Black Belt. At this point, over 100 episodes, different questions, jiu-jitsu, life-related, but something that everybody comes across, and often these questions sink in our mind, but we don't ask for whatever reason. So if that benefits you, go there, listen. It actually might help your jiu-jitsu, might help your life as well. And if you have any questions, find me on Instagram and drop me a line. I'll be happy to answer your question and mention your name during the episode.
Welcome to Raw Radio.
And we are live.
Here we go.
Have you ever thought about spending Valentine's Day after 11 p.m. with me?
No, I never thought of it. Yes, I did think of it when you scheduled the podcast. I thought of it then. And I was like, oh, Jesus.
It's going to be a long night. Oh, boy.
This guy.
Was that a coincidence? Or
was it a coincidence? No, because you said, this guy's in Australia and he can only do it on a Tuesday night. Could you do it? And I said, sure. And then as soon as I said sure, I was like, this numbskull's going to schedule it for Valentine's Day, isn't he? And sure enough, it's my new, that's how I look at you. You're a numbskull.
What does that
You're
mean?
A numbskull.
What does that mean?
Numbskull.
Look it up the definition. I want to know.
The way I look at it.
The episode is going down garbage.
The way I look, I think of a num. See, this isn't what I think of. See, the definition, so you don't get mad, is a stupid or foolish person. I look at the word numb, right? So let's look at the definition of numb, right? And it's derived of the power of sensation. So I think that you're kind of, you're a numbskull because things don't, normal thought processes don't penetrate. It's like that. It's kind of for that set of circumstances, I guess. You're kind of numb up there. What pops into the head of a normal person who functions in society doesn't pop into your head. Like, oh, hey, February 14th probably might not be the best time for me to schedule a podcast at 9:30 at night because first, you would think my wife probably might want to do something. And then you would think, oh, Gary's wife probably would want to do something too. That's what a normal person would do. A numbskull it wouldn't even register that it's February 14th until the other numbskull who hangs out with you for this nonsense says, it's Valentine's Day.
I will be honest. It did not cross my mind it was Valentine's Day until weeks after it was scheduled.
I could have told you could have done it for December 25th and been like, oh, I didn't know that was the day Christmas was this year.
This year.
Right?
Well, at least I'm laughing about this.
Yeah, it's fine. I took Margaret out for breakfast and she had a wonderful breakfast.
The good news behind all of this is that we are training in about 8 hours or 9 hours.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And we'll see who's going to be the numbskull.
Who's the numbskull then? Yeah. Jesus, I got to get up and come back here soon. So let's, but what are we talking about? What were we talking about? John Will, right?
I mean, John Will,
Coincidence.
right? John
Yes.
Will. I mean, listen, I feel like before we get to the topic at hand, I feel like we are extremely fortunate here. We are. It's like, I don't know. Is it coincidence or pure luck? Like, we've had some of these old school guys. Another Dirty Dozen, a member of Dirty Dozen.
Yep.
I
And
mean,
unlike Roy Harris, he says it. He's confident.
oh, he's confident, right. And there's, many versions of the list, but the point is, no matter how you slice it, he's one of the very first non-American guys who, I'm sorry, non-Brazilians who received the black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. What a huge part of the history. And, even chit-chatting with him, just having these casual conversations, and getting to know him and getting to know the history that he's been part of, it's just mind blowing to me.
Yeah,
like
when
he was name dropping left and
I was just
right,
gonna bring that
and
up.
I was like, God damn it!
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. So when I do the introduction, right, that I record, Hegan, right, Jean-Jacques, Benny the Jet, Henzo, Gene LaBelle, Fabio Gurgel, and
Caesar.
Caesar. That's a good story he tells about Caesar. So these names, it's incredible. I mean, and he in passing, not even telling stories, he's dropping Hickson and Hellion. It just goes on and on and on.
Helio. We didn't even get to
Helio.
We didn't even talk about him training with Helio. There was not enough time. I feel like we need to bring these guys again.
Well,
to dig deeper into this. But
if he seems like the type of guy, he's already made up his mind. If we reach out in the future and be like, "Can you do another episode?" He knows already. Like, he's just gonna be like, "Screw that! No, I'm not doing it with those idiots, those numbskulls, those numbskulls." He's gonna hit us with a knuckle duster.
Knuckle duster. You got to listen to the episode if you have no idea what we're talking about. There's so many different stories behind all of this.
So what stuck out with me was, coincidence, because it's like, how he's lived his life, where he's been, what he's done, who he's been with. You could say, oh, it was a coincidence or it was luck came up too. But I don't believe in those things. I mean, the common thought about a coincidence is something that happens without any connection, right? You're walking and
without intent.
Yeah, intent or even connection. It was a coincidence that you ran into somebody. It was a coincidence that you happened to be walking when the guy dropped the brick off the roof and it hit you in the head, or it was bad luck. And I don't think that those things are real. I think that everything, and you and I have talked about this once or twice before, but I think that everything has been set in motion, and it's like this spider web, or like this. I saw a cool thing about a fungus, where it's growing, it's moving, so things happen, and we bounce off of each other, and something else happens.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So what you're saying essentially is that things are predetermined ahead of time, and they are
they're
on
not
a track to happen, part of this web or whatever set of events, and we just coexist in it, and so it happens that we're part of it?
Yeah, I think it's an organic thing. So it's not none of this is predetermined.
Okay.
But it's just happening organically, so as these things spread out, and, I talk to this person, that whatever's happened to them is reflected back on me, and now I carry that someplace else, and so on and so forth. So, you get up in the morning and you spill your coffee, and you're cleaning that up, and you leave late for work, so you get into an accident, or you don't, because of that happenstance. And I think that sitting in a room with Henzo and Hegan and Jean-Jacques didn't happen coincidentally for John. It happened because he set certain things in motion, as well did other people halfway across the world. And there was a connection. If you go far enough back, you'll see the connection.
So, and help correct me if I'm wrong. So the thought here is that everything we do has a consequence and result,
Mm-hmm.
And based on that, following events will happen, and things will essentially will play out whether we like it or not.
Yes.
We don't have. So what you're saying is that we don't have much choice as to what is happening because it will happen anyway?
No, it's not going to happen anyway.
Okay.
No, I think that we have a lot of choice how you react to these things, right? So now you set off another branch, so to speak.
So let me challenge you on this, right? So we're making a decision, right? Right now, you made a decision to be here.
Yeah, on Valentine's Day.
Right. So how do you know, right? This is the interesting part. So how do you know that decision was not predetermined way ahead? How do you know your choice was really at will versus this is not part of this larger design?
Yeah, I think you were getting a little abstract or a little.
I know because I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, right?
I could have said no.
But you didn't.
No, I didn't.
Because you like to hang out with me on Valentine's Day.
No, absolutely not. Because I didn't want to upset this gentleman from Australia. John, not Austria. You can make fun of us Americans as much as you want.
So is that how we view jiu-jitsu learning or jiu-jitsu education too? Is like sometimes we struggle.
It's all connections, right?
Life is hard. We are struggling, and some people will quit and other people won't quit because they...
Oh, so you're talking about, like your jiu-jitsu journey, not like...
Right. I'm not talking about on the mat. I'm talking about the path itself, right? Because everybody goes in different directions, and that's essentially consequential to what took place prior, right? In
and the decisions you made because of those circumstances. Right. Yeah. So if the decision I make is I'm getting smashed all the time, what do I do to get better, or how do I get smashed less, is a much different decision than I get smashed all the time, I'm quitting. Right? Now I quit, that sets off a whole nother set of circumstances in my life.
True.
Right? Or I'm going to stick with it, that sets off a whole nother different set of circumstances. So I think there's these points, these pivot points, or whatever you want to call them,
experiences,
that change the path. It's not that's why I don't think it's predetermined.
Yeah, so, no, I know what you mean. And I'm playing devil's advocate often in these conversations just to kind of challenge the topic, because that's what I do. What is it? Numbskull?
Yeah, numbskull.
Numbskull.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what you mean. It's like, listen, when you talked about this, your journey, right? You had a set of questions. You reached out to a few people, which academy, and you stumble upon this academy. And if that day you chose not to come in here, we would not be sitting here.
Oh, Jesus. Regrets.
But even getting deeper into this, because of that, this show might have not existed.
Right. Yeah. I mean, would you have done it with even if it existed, it would be with somebody else. You would have different guests.
Correct.
Or same guests, different times, which would change the topics of conversation.
Absolutely.
Right. All that stuff would change.
Yeah.
And
So even looking at jiu-jitsu, right? If you would look at it just mechanics and just being on the mat and sparring sessions of these engagements that we are creating with our training partners, right? Every decision really matters. So every decision that we make during that little session, these micro decisions that we are making, consequentially will lead as a domino effect to how the end result will look.
Right.
So if my frames, I take a casual approach to it, there will be a domino effect that follows. If I remove my hips, that decision will pivot this entire round into a completely different direction.
Yep.
And I think if you look at it from that perspective, our approach to training and to understanding jiu-jitsu is going to be very different. Because with that thought, what you're saying, or what we are saying, is that every decision matters. You just looked up the clock. Are you done?
Yeah, I want to get home before midnight so that I can spend one moment with Margaret.
Okay, so that means we're done.
No, we're not done. No, I'm just. I am looking at the clock.
But what I'm saying is, every decision matters.
Yeah,
every decision matters.
Sure,
but we don't know whether it's a right decision. It's not right or wrong. We don't know what the consequence of the decision will be until farther in the
we
future.
talked a lot about history with John, right?
Yep.
And it's the same thing. We won't know.
Yep.
until it's the future. We won't look back at that round. We won't look back at that, take it to an extreme, that war.
Yep.
We won't, and what decisions. It's always funny. Like if you read history and you read about, let's say, the Second World War, okay, it started, for us in America when Pearl Harbor was bombed. Well, it might have started for us when we cut off Japan's shipping lanes, right? I mean, it wasn't declared, but what kicked it off?
Right.
It
might have been even much sooner than that, much earlier than that, right?
And how far back do you want to go? Do you want to go back to, you could go back a couple hundred years.
Yeah. No, it's so part of it.
Yeah, it's cool stuff, and it's interesting, and it's that. But these are the reasons why I don't believe in coincidence, and I don't believe in luck. I think you make what appears to be luck out of those decisions you make.
Yeah, I agree.
When those circumstances arise,
I agree. I think luck is a very human way of explaining subset of circumstances that just occurred.
Oh man, I got lucky. Well, you sure?
No, you didn't.
It looks that way.
It's all based on the decisions that you make. I mean, I'm a strong believer that we create our own future. I'm a strong believer on that. Everything that happens tomorrow is based on what happened today. Mm-hmm. And in order for tomorrow to be smooth, we need to wrap this up.
This is my
segue.
Okay, I guess we're done.
Great episode. If you didn't listen to John Will, please do. Another pioneer of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, another member of Dirty Dozen. I mean, we are not lucky. We are creating this show to be amazing. Like a decade from now, somebody's going to listen to Raw Radio and is going to be like, those two fools.
Those two numbskulls.
Numbskulls.
All right.
Let's wrap this up.
Ya.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.